What is going on, party people? This is Daryl D, and I'm back with another Richard Corben video. Number, I'm not sure. 26, 27, somewhere in there. Check the title. Man, this one is going to be a good one. Now, listen, most of my Corben videos, at least the ones with the magazines, because, you know, I pretty much have everything in comic book size. So most of the magazines that I've shown you have been like some of the Warren books, whether it's the eerie books, the creepy books. I've shown maybe a couple of Vampirella. I've shown a few spirit books. I've shown some 1984 books, epic, and that, you know, those are like the more common Warren videos, and I think I might have some of those I want to show you now. I have 10 that I want to show you, and they actually, these 10 I want to show you today, they go all over the place. We're gonna have a good time with this one, because it's not the regular stuff that you normally see, or maybe it is. We'll just have to find out. So let's just get started. All right, the first one I want to show you from Warren, but kind of unusual, is Comics International. This is number 4. Now, Comics International, I guess they weren't around for a super long time. It's from like the early 70s, well, mid 70s, 70, 76. And the thing about this book is they never sold it in stores. It was never available to the public in terms of being in any shops or anything. You could only order these out of other Warren book catalogs, books, whatever. That's the only place you could get them. You know, if you're flipping through one of the, you know, Warren magazines and you see the ads in the back, you know, remember how they used to sell all those books or back orders from that particular run? That's where you would find the advertisements for Comics International. So that's why you really, well, that's why I never became super familiar with them until a few years ago, because I certainly had never seen them before, or I definitely never paid attention. And I'm not talking about when it came out in 76. I'm talking about, you know, in my adult years. I don't recall ever seeing them before throughout the years. So this was pretty cool, because when I first started, you know, down my Richard Corben journey, that's when I started seeing them online here, there. I do believe, I'm not exactly sure how many issues of this came out, and I'm not sure how many issues Corben appeared in. I want to say there's 4 books. I do believe 4 books with Corben in them. I do believe I've shown you 1 or 2. In fact, I believe I have a video where I actually crack one out of the plastic casing. What do they call it? The graded books. I bought it graded, but I freed it of its plastic prison. You can go find that video. I don't know which episode that was. But yeah, definitely this number 4 is like really, really cool. I am where did I find this one? I'm almost positive that I got this from Champion Comics right here in town. But I want to crack this baby open and see what's in here, because if my memory serves me correctly, I believe Corben appears in here more than once. So let's just see. This thing is in really good condition. Okay, so yeah, there's the first story in here is called The Believer. So let's see who wrote this. This was Bud Lewis. Never heard of the guy. I'm not familiar with like writers in general. This is one of those evil Christmas horror story type stories. You know, more pagan on top of pagan. And then let's find the second. Oh, here it is, right here. The second one is that. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yes, there's a second story in here just called The Child or Child. Greg Potter is the writer. This is the opening page of artwork there. And let's see. Ooh. Okay, there's definitely some mad scientist stuff going on here. Because there's like a little kid, and then if you look right there, he's like doing this mutation thing. Looks like a 7-year-old version of the Incredible Hulk going on in there. So those are two. Let me just check and make sure there's not a third story in here. Because I think one of the issues of this book has like, is like an all Corben book, if I remember correctly. But wouldn't you know it, there is a third Corben story in here. So, and this one is written and drawn by Corben. This is called The Woodlick Inheritance. There's the opening page of artwork there. And let me see. Okay, we got some cave dwelling stuff going on here. Like there's a lot of dark shades. This story, he does a lot more of his dark shading type art in here. It's pretty much how that whole story kind of turns out. So this is really cool. 3 Corben stories in one book. That is pretty incredible, I believe. And I need to do a little bit more research, but I'm pretty positive that I have all of the Comics Internationals. I have another one. I definitely have another one that I'm going to show you in a different video. But yeah, this one is number 4. And it's a cool one. 3 stories in there. You gotta love that. Second book I want to show you is Neverwhere by Den. Den 1 Neverwhere. This is I was just in Las Vegas maybe a month ago, and I was at this store. I forgot the name of this store. It was called Rock something. Rock. Man, I should have remembered. Let me try to find this store real quick, cause I kind of want to. I would really like to give them their shine. I did talk about them in another video, and what I mentioned in that video is this store had absolutely the biggest volume of graded books I've ever seen. Now, if you know anything about me or this channel, you know I don't do graded books. I don't do graded books. I read. I'm a reader. I don't, I don't buy for condition and all that nonsense. But if you're into graded books, I would suggest going there, because 50% of their store was graded books. Like probably more than that, but a minimum of 50. And all of the wall books in the entire store were all graded books. They had graded undergrounds. It was some nice stuff if you're into that graded stuff. They had a lot of them in there, and like one whole half of the store. Well, I would say, was it? Yeah, it's like 50% of the store was graded books, or at least 1/3 of the store was graded, and then the rest of them. And they had a pretty nice section of comic magazines. They had really nice condition underground comics. It was a very nice mixed bag of stuff. They didn't have a whole lot of new stuff. I mean, they did. They had new stuff in there, but it wasn't like some shops where they carry every new title. They only had so many brand new titles on the shelf, but it was mostly back issues in there. And if you look at the last video that I did about the comic haul, one of my last comic haul videos, I kind of go into detail about how, as far as shopping, it was sort of a bust. It wasn't what I thought it was going to end up being. Anyway, I hadn't spent a lot of money there on comics, and this book was $30, and I hadn't planned on spending $30 on some book, magazine, whatever you call this thing. And but I didn't have it either. I didn't have this book. Den has appeared in so many different forms, in the comic world, so many different variations. I really don't know what from what. I haven't gone through to make sure that, okay, I have the complete Den story here, or I don't know if Neverwhere is a completely different story, because I know there's at least 2 different Den stories, and I have another Neverwhere book that's that really big one. You know what I mean? So, or is it Nevermore, Neverwhere, something like that. Anyway, I bought it because I hadn't spent a lot of money on that trip at all. It's a beautiful book. It's in great condition, and maybe one day I will get around to reading it. But this was a cool find to at least walk away with something from that trip. Oh, that store was called Red Hood. Red Hood. And it's I forgot what part of town it's on. But it's almost like right across the street from a book called Velvet Underground. And I talked about that store in the last video as well. So that was pretty cool. Okay, here's a very cool one. I found out, when I was doing my Corben research a long time ago, I found out about a fanzine called Retro Rocket Comic Collector. Am I saying that? Retro Rocket? Something like that. This is a fanzine, and Corben has appeared in maybe 5 or 6 issues of this, but I never see these. I recently saw a nice stack of them at Champion Comics. None of them there, unfortunately, feature Richard Corben, but this particular one I found on IG from a seller on there who I bought a few Corben books from. Can't think of his name, otherwise I'd say it, but yes, check out this Corben cover on here. And we got to crack this open so we can find out exactly what's in here, because there is some Corben art, and then we'll look for the actual number on here, because they put a lot of these out. When this came out, there were a lot of these. I think they went well into the 200s, with this magazine. And I had no idea that there were so many fanzines out there. Not just in comic books, but just kind of period. I I never, you know, back in the day, if I ever saw one, I don't remember or I don't recall. I definitely didn't give it any type of attention, not any significant attention. But as I go through a lot of the stuff at Champion Comics, I'm seeing so many things. Y'all go check out my Champion Comic videos and just look at some of the random, most obscure stuff. I continue to find things in there that I've never seen before in my life. And he's only got so many boxes that are open up to the public, but there's like a ton of boxes in there, tops on them, underneath the tables or whatever, and I'll just like grab random boxes and open them up and just see what's in there. I found today the coolest Von Bodie collectibles. One was a Sunspot comic book, one of the mini ones like this, and I found this other one which came, it was purchased from Von Bodie, and it came from his spot in Oakland, California, and it came in an envelope that he did art on the front of the envelope, art on the back of the envelope, and then what was in the envelope was like a stack of like just prints of artwork. There are maybe like 20 different prints in there. And I was like, this is so cool. I mean, how many people could possibly have this, And I inquired. I was kind of curious. I figured it was like way out of my budget, to buy. But I inquired about the price, and it was unaffordable. Unaffordable for me. So I didn't bother with that. But man, that would have been so cool to add to my collection. Okay, so here's some Corben art that appeared in there. And I know there's some more in here. I think there might even be, in one of these books that he appeared in, I think there's also an interview or something with him in it. I'd like to do some kind of fanzine. I mean, I am working on a zine, but I wouldn't call it a fanzine. Okay, that might be the only art in here, unless I'm missing something. I thought there were a few more, but I might be thinking about another issue too. And this guy, he did that I bought this from. If you're on Instagram and you're interested in this book, he had a second copy. And what did I pay for this? I think I paid, if I remember correctly, I think I paid $20 for that. So I'm guessing it will be around the same. And he's got some other Corben stuff too. I got this other book that I got from him, and I'm not sure where it is, but I'm gonna eventually show that one to you too. Rocket something. I hope I said the title right. Okay, so I don't know, maybe like a month ago I'm in Champion Comics again, and Phil, the owner in there, he's like, hey man, I haven't seen you for a while. And then he pulls out this Fanagor magazine. Now, I've shown you, this isn't like the comic book one, because the comic book size obviously is comic book size, and then it has more info on it. It's got the price tag on it. But this is just like magazine size, and I had no idea that those two existed because they look exactly the same. It's just the comic book size has, a little bit more information up here. It's got Fanagor, the company. I believe that's on there too. But I had never seen this before. I'm like, whoa. And he was like, yeah, I found that in the back and blah, blah, blah. And I bought it. I had to buy it. This was like $25. I don't know if that sounds like, a deal to me. After realizing what this was, then I started noticing them a little bit more online, and some of them are out there for way more than what I paid for it. So I thought that was really cool that, there was sort of like a new discovery for me, and I got to add it to my collection at the same time. So how cool is that? Now this next one is really cool. I should have pulled out this original book, but there's a book called Batman Black and White. Well, this is sort of like a teaser, like a sampler of that book. It's like super thin, you know what I mean? Maybe only 4 or 6 pages. And I just picked this up. I found this online too. And yeah, I think it's only it feels like 4 pages. So this is my first time opening it. Okay, so yeah, this is only 4 pages, and each page feature a different artist. So this is the Corben page that they picked for the sampler. And so this artwork actually appears in Corben's part of the actual comic book. But this was cool. It's pretty cheap too. Something I only need to pull out once, but hey, it's Corben, and it is now a part of my permanent Corben collection. Now these next 3 books I want to show you are kind of grouped all together. So I made a Corben list a long time ago, and there's stuff on there that a lot of stuff on there actually that I haven't yet found, and 99% of that stuff are magazines. So there were three books in particular that I was looking for. Wait a minute. There's some books that I was looking for. One of the books that I was looking for, or I should say 2, were from Famous Monsters. Remember that magazine, Famous Monsters? Well, Corben appeared in at least 3 of them. So, and then there's there's a magazine called Creeps, which is just a new version of Creepy, right? And so there's, I don't know how many of those Corben appeared in, but at least one of them I know for sure. So I'm messing around on the internet, and I find this post, and it's for 4 horror magazines. 3 of those magazines are Famous Monsters, and one of them is a Creeps magazine. So out of those 4 magazines that I just mentioned, 3 of the 4 magazines that I was looking for were in that lot. And I forgot how much I paid, but it was an excellent price for those. It's probably, I don't know. Anyway, here is a copy of Famous Monsters of Filmland, number 257. And this, I believe, has just the Corben cover, because most of their covers were comic book art, but on the inside, it's just pictures from the actual different monster films and horror films and things of that nature. There's not like any comic book art inside of the magazine. So this is definitely a cover thing. I mean, they do have some comic book art in there, but I'll just say that most of the content in there is actual pictures from the actual movies. So this was real exciting because I couldn't find, these magazines anywhere. And with Champion Comics being a magazine, headquarters, they have a ton of famous monsters of filmland. But this is like a way later issue of a 257. If you need to issue like 1 through maybe 150, Champion is the place to go. Multiple copies of it too. But as far as like these later copies, I haven't been able to find them. But to find, what I found in those lots, find a lot of 4 and 3 of them being the ones I needed, was pretty incredible. Let's get a closer look at this Corben beauty here. So that was pretty cool. And then let me show you another one. This one is thick. This is number 251, and that's more incredible Corben art. Doesn't look like Corben art at first glance. Actually, it doesn't look like his art at second or third glance for me, but it's definitely him because right down there by his hand, you see his name there. So this is definitely some Corben art there. That sucker is thick too, man. This is 2010. Wow. 2010. Yes, that was a great find. Great find, man. I'm very happy about that one. Then let's move on to the Creeps magazine. This is Creeps number 13. Let's get a close-up of that. This is Corben art on the cover. And I'm not sure, but let's just let's take a look inside and see if he appears inside anywhere. Okay. You never know. I'm not sure if he just did the art or just did the cover art. I'm guessing there's got to be something on the inside. No inside cover art, just Richard Corben on the cover. This thing is in mint condition. Beautiful mint condition on there. Has anybody out there like really checked out those the Creeps magazines? What's the other one? The Vamp or something? The second phase of Vampirella. I think there's like there's a new Eerie book out too, spelled a different way. Has anybody out there checked for those, or has anybody read any of those? Let me know. Now this one is super cool. I've actually found a few of these lately. I thought this was really cool. I found 2 or 3 of these and they were all in the dollar bins. I knew what they were, but this is a tiny little, this is smaller than a zine. This is like the size of a TV guide. And it's from Topps Comics, and it's like the X-Files. Like the X-Files comic book. It's kind of thick too. But what's cool in here is there's a Corben. There's actually a Corben story in here. And we're going to find that. Here we go. It looks like some type of space space story. The Sound of Thunder. Okay, let me show you this opening page, or these two opening pages. So there's the storyline right there, and then there's some of the art that appears in there. So this little book, this was really cool. I forgot exactly how I found out about this, but it has like several stories in it, several different artists. And wait, let me take that back. This only has three stories in here. So yeah, three different stories, all different artists and writers. If I didn't know better, I would have never touched this book in 100 years. This is I never watched the X-Files. I'm not into that type of sci-fi stuff, and I would have never touched this book. But it's pretty cool. So, like I said, I've seen it a few times, and it's always been in the dollar bins. Okay, one last one to show you. On some of my earlier Corben videos where I was still showing the comic books, Dark Horse put out a creepy run of books. A lot of those, a handful at least, featured Corben. I thought I had all of them until recently, but this is another one that I didn't know about that I just recently came across, and it also features Corben. Let's see what he does in here. Jan Stranad. I don't know how you spell that. I always thought that was a woman because of the name Jan, but somebody told me that's actually a dude. Help me out. Who knows the correct answer to that question? Let's take a look inside. This thing is like mint condition. And let's find that story. Let's see. That's got... Oh, I remember this story. Okay. This is a story called Bowser. And Bowser is basically just what that story, or just what that picture would describe. A little boy with this weird thing that lives in his basement, and he's got to make sure it gets fed on a regular basis. Now, this same exact story appears in an old issue of Vampirella, and I've shown that book, a while back. I think I have, because I definitely have a couple more Vampirella books that I need to show you. So I might not have shown you this. So either I showed it to you, or I'm going to at some point show it to you, because I have a lot of Corben magazines I still need to get to. I usually show 10 at a time, but trust me, I got a nice amount of books to show you. So this was cool. I haven't shown you guys a comic-sized Corben book in a long time. Probably well over a year at least. This is cool, and I only know of one other comic book size Corben book that I don't have. I won't say which one it is, but let's just say it is extremely high in price. So I probably will never own that book, but I felt that way about a lot of the Corben books that I've shown you. So who knows? But man, that is some cool Corben books that I wanted you guys to see. A really nice mixed bag of stuff there. The next one I show you is going to be the same. It's like a super cool mixed bag of stuff. Some of the stuff I've been looking for a while. So that video is going to be pretty cool as well. Tomorrow is the Scottsdale comic book show, aka the Old Man Con. I have made videos of the Old Man Con before. There's at least 3 of them posted. Go check them out. I love this show. It's my favorite con. Just books. That's all it is. No, like, people walking around in costumes. Nobody really selling a lot of toys and weaponry, and no panels. You might see a special guest here or there, there to sign stuff or whatever. But it's just, if you just want books, that's the place to go. Lots of underground comics in there, lots of back issues in there. Not your regular con where you would have to dig and fish around a whole lot more to find that old stuff, that 60s, 70s, 80s stuff that you've been looking for. So there'll definitely be a video about that coming at some point. All right? So thank you guys for hanging out. This is Daryl D. I'm out of here. You guys stay safe. Peace and love.